We see a military base and how several vehicles ride from it. Meanwhile, two people just got married and start riding too. As they ride, the military personnel discuss what they might be carrying. Both the military people and the couple that got married are distracted by their activity. This causes the car to collide with one of the vehicles. They both explode and the container from the vehicle flies out on the road. This causes a soldier to radio for help, and the personnel on the other line tells him to get out of there. As one of the men looks into the container, a humanoid monster comes out and starts attacking the soldiers. Two of them attempt to escape, but the monster catches and eliminates them. After that, they get up as zombies. During the opening credits, we see zombies causing a massacre in Las Vegas and how certain individuals struggle to survive. After that, one of the survivors, Scott, flips burgers in a restaurant. The television there shows how Las Vegas has been closed off. It also states that a nuke is scheduled to drop there in 4 days. Then someone visits Scott and proposes to him a certain mission. If he can retrieve $200 million from the Las Vegas area, then $50 million will be his. He is given 1 night to think about it and also a blueprint. A later scene has many tents near the Las Vegas barricade. Two ladies talk to each other there. One of them tells the other, Kate, that she wants her kids out of there. Then a guard comes to them and starts giving an attitude. He scans them after that and leaves after he sees they are fine. We then see Scott having a nightmare about how he ended his zombie wife. He then wakes from it and calls the man, Tanaka, to tell him he accepts his offer. Then Scott comes to see his friend, Maria. He proposes the same job to her that was proposed to him. She seems to have accepted it. Then they both visit their other friend, Vandero, with the same proposal. Marion comes after him, who accepts for just $2 million and not even knowing what's the job. And then Scott and Maria come to Mikey, who they offer just $500,000. After that, they visit a man that opens safes. He is offered the least amount of money and gets asked if he can open what Scott presents to him. The man states that he isn't sure, but is the most likely to do so. He then accepts the job and introduces himself as Dieter. What follows are scenes of the members getting ready for the mission. Afterward, they all gather at a place where Tanaka then greets them. He presents to them the Vegas Bly and says there's a helicopter there for them to escape in. Scott then goes over the basics of how to eliminate zombies before Tanaka tells them about the plan. One of them leaves out of fear, not knowing initially that zombies would be involved. Then Tanaka's head of security says he will accompany them on the mission. In the next scene, Scott comes to Kate and asks for her help. He offers her $15 million if she could. At first, she hesitates, but then she accepts. Later, Kate's friend, Jita, wakes up the tough lady known as Coyote. She points her gun at Jita from being surprised. Afterward, Kate arrives on a bus for the crew that is going on the mission. While talking to Scott about her, Maria reveals that Kate is his daughter. Then we see the crew riding in the bus. When they arrive at the tent area, Kate comes to two children who say their mother is gone. This causes Kate to come to Coyote and punch her to the ground. She did that because Coyote took Jita into Las Vegas. What follows is Kate telling her father that she's coming with them, but Scott says she isn't and they argue over it. Eventually, she convinces him and he tells her that she can't leave his side. Then Coyote says they need another person to come with them and so she recruits the guard, Bert. He tries carrying the chainsaw, but Vandero takes it from him and tells him he carries the gas tanks for it. After that, they get ready and enter Las Vegas. As they traverse the area, it is empty at first, but then they spot a zombie tiger. After it presents itself for a short while, it then leaves. Coyote then comes to Bert and asks to see his gun. He gives it to her and she shoots him in the leg. This action startles the crew, but Coyote informs them that they need to give an offering to the smarter monsters there. She adds that they have to play by their rules. Then she reveals how awful a person Bert is and if anyone is to be offered, it is him. The crew then leaves him lying there in his wounded state. Following that, a female zombie comes out to look at Bert. He lies scared and tries to talk to her. Then he tells the crew to shoot her. The zombie comes to him and then inspects the crew. After that, another zombie appears and starts dragging Bert away somewhere, and the female zombie follows him. As the crew picks a direction to walk in, a figure watches them from atop the Statue of Liberty. Later on, Marion starts telling Scott how she is the second most important person there, because her job is to fly them out in the helicopter. She then attempts to rank the importance of the crew members and tells Scott who's allowed to be eliminated first. Then we see Bert with the zombies. The strong zombie arrives and holds Bert by the neck. Then he bites his arm and tosses him into a drain pool area. Other zombies come to him and take him away. Then the crew encounters zombies who Coyote says are hibernating, so they quietly try to move past them while using glow sticks. Then the lady, Chambers, accidentally bumps into a zombie. After waking it, she resorts to using her knife on the zombie. Afterward, someone makes several dishes fall, which makes a noise loud enough to wake the zombies. The crew then opens fire. The member Martin enters a room and makes sure no one could enter with him. Chambers then sees him in there and tries to shoot him, but she has no more ammo. After Martin runs to Mikey, Mikey asks him where Chambers is, and Marin lies by saying he doesn't know. Following that, Chambers breaks through a window and fires at the zombies surrounding her. But there are too many of them and they grab her. She tells Mikey to run as they start consuming her, and he shoots her gas tank, which causes an explosion and eliminates many zombies. In the next scene, they arrive at the Vegas Bly. They enter it and shoot a few zombies. Kate then asks Coyote if Jita could still be alive here, and Coyote offers her a story about how someone she knew once survived there for 3 days. Then the crew locates more blueprints of the safe there. Scott concludes that Tanaka had other teams there before them because of that. He asks Martin if he knows about this, and he says that it's news to him. Afterward, they go over as to who is doing what and then go their separate ways. Marion arrives at the roof with Maria and is disappointed with the quality of the helicopter. Then we see the zombie tiger where Coyote and Marin walk. They talk for a short while and then Coyote threatens him by saying if he messes with her enough, then she will shoot him. Then we see Scott speaking to Kate. He asks her if she understands why he had to eliminate her mother. She says she does. But that's not the reason why she did not talk to him for years. She states her reason was that he didn't show up after he did it. And Scott replies that every time he looked at Kate, he was reminded of his wife and it hurt him too much to stay with her. Kate then finishes by saying she spent too much time hating him and that she can't just turn it off. Scott understands her statement and then turns the power on in the casino. Then 3 other members enter an area and shoot zombies there. After their victory, Dieter sees the safe. Then he notices skeletons lying near him, people who tried getting in. Vandero tells him how those people could be them as he places bombs on the gate. He continues by saying how they could be stuck in some infinite loop of fighting and die. And when he finishes his speculation, the bombs he placed explode and the gate gets destroyed. Martin and Coyote then see the 2-leader zombie. Then inside somewhere, the strong zombie comes to Jita and 3 other females sitting scared. He takes one of them and slams her against the wall. After that, the female zombie runs at Martin and Coyote. Martin shoots a rope at her, which wraps around her before she falls restrained. Then the other zombie runs and tries dodging Marin's shooting. He gets to Martin and holds him down until Coyote destroys him. Following that, Martin gets on the lady zombie and collects her head. He says his boss wants one and that a zombie army could be created from a head like hers. But Coyote tells him that if the other zombies find her body, then their trade is off. Vandero then brings a zombie to the room with the safe. He tosses a hand near it to lure the zombie there. As the zombie comes after it, it steps on trapped parts on the floor. The first trap shoots it with darts and the second shoots it with bullets. But the zombie keeps walking until it gets crushed by 2 closing walls. Meanwhile, Marion tries starting the helicopter, but it busts on her. Then Dieter and Vandero push the wall in, and Scott watches the TV with the rest of the crew. On it, the reporter says the nuke is rescheduled to drop on Las Vegas 24 hours prior to its original scheduled time. They have only over 1 hour and a half until it happens. Scott then radios Marion to inform her about it. After that, Scott and his crew come to Dieter to check on his progress with the safe, and he tells them they messed him up. He then says if he messes up again, the safe locks forever. He now needs 30 minutes of new silence. As the crew talks amongst themselves, one of the zombie leaders arrives to the headless lady zombie. He turns her over and screams in anger. And then we see that Dieter unlocked the safe. He gives Vandero the honor of opening it and then they all enter inside. We see huge stacks of bills there. While they collect the money, the leader zombie carries the lady zombie through the zombie horde. Then he places her down and takes out a zombie baby from her. Realizing that it is lifeless, he screams in more anger. Then as Scott and Maria move with their collected cash, Maria tells him that she came there for him, not the money. After that, Scott asks for Kate and notices she isn't there. We then see how many zombies run out of the building while Kate hides out there inside a car. The leader zombie sits on horseback with the tiger by his side. Kate then emerges and starts running for the building. Then Scott goes with Maria to the elevator. When the elevator opens, a zombie grabs Maria and ends her life. This moves Scott to execute a rampage on the zombies. When he deals with them, the crew tries to escape, but Martin traps them down there. He then says that the head of the zombie is worth more than the money. Before leaving, he states he's going to eliminate Marion and fly out of there. Shortly after, the leader zombie jumps down to Vandero and Dieter's area. They shoot him with handguns, but that doesn't bring him down. This prompts Vandero to enter hand-to-hand combat with the leader, and while they fight, the zombie displays a greater advantage. Then he almost destroys Vandero, but Dieter hits the zombie to save his friend. He follows that by placing Vandero into the safe and closing the door, but the zombie takes Dieter that way. After that, Coyote breaks through a wall while Scott and Mikey shoot zombies. Then we see how Marin checks his bag for the head and notices that it's been replaced. To make matters much worse for him, the tiger then appears by his side. It slams him into a car and then beats him against the ground many times. And finally, the tiger ends Martin's life. Coyote, Mikey, and Scott then enter a casino and fight many more zombies. Scott displays tremendous skill as he deals with the undead. As they continue fighting, money flies out of Mikey's bag. Then the zombies bring him down and bite him. He pulls the pin off one of his grenades, causing Scott and Coyote to run away. It then explodes and destroys many zombies. Scott and Coyote get inside the elevator and ride. The next scene has Kate searching another area. As she walks there, we see Zombie Bird appear. Then the duo arrives on the rooftop. Soon after, the zombie leader presents himself there as well. This prompts Coyote to take out the head of the zombie from her bag. She states that she is the zombie queen, and she uses the head to lure the other zombie away from Scott and Marion. As she holds the gun to it, the zombie leader throws a metal pole into Coyote. She gets stuck to a wall and throws the head down from the building, and Marion flies away in the helicopter with Scott. While they fly, Marion asks Scott where the money is. He tells her there's no money and that they have to save Kate. Meanwhile, Kate locates Jita and another lady. Then the helicopter arrives at that building and Scott enters it. Kate and the other two try to find a way out. As they move, Bert appears to bite the other lady. Kate fires at him and destroys Bert. Scott hears the gunshots and runs in their direction. But then Kate sees the zombie leader standing there with several zombies. They chase after Kate and Jita. When they make it to the stairwell door, they try to go through it, but it's locked. They fire at the zombies and then at the leader. But the leader does not fall. Then Scott breaks through the door and shoots a grenade launcher near the leader, sending the zombie flying to the side. After that, the three of them make it to the roof, but Marion is gone. They stand there for a few seconds, wondering what is going on, and then the helicopter comes back for them. They get inside and then see the leader standing on the roof. They attempt to fly away and leave him there, but he runs and jumps inside to join them. Scott fights the monster as they fly through the city, and Marion gets shot in the process. Then the helicopter flies out of Las Vegas and they see the nuke flying toward it. After that, Kate takes the fire extinguisher and strikes the zombie with it. What follows is the nuke exploding and Scott eliminating the zombie leader with a gunshot. The shock wave from the nuke then makes the helicopter crash. We then see how Tanaka watches the destruction of Las Vegas on television. Afterward, Kate stands and comes to her father. They talk for a while, and then he takes out a stack of cash and gives it to her. He follows that by saying he's proud of her and that he loves her. Then he tells Kate that he's sorry for running like a coward. And his daughter tries to comfort him by saying he's not a coward. Shortly after, the wound Scott picked up turns him into a zombie and Kate is forced to end him. After that, she starts crying and tosses the gun away. And then a rescue helicopter lands nearby. Then amongst the rubble in Las Vegas, a ground door opens and several bags get thrown out. Vandero emerges and walks with the money bags. He then arrives at a settlement and takes the car there to drive into Utah. After that, he enters an airport and asks an employee there if he could rent a plane. At first, he gets rejected. But then he takes out 3 stacks of cash and the employee reconsiders her decision. In the final scene, we see Vandero flying in a private plane. He struggles there with his wounded condition and goes to the washroom. In there, he spots a bite mark on his arm, which causes him to laugh out of despair.